From state visits to trooping the color and the wind down of a summer, Royals gave us some really fantastic and some very questionable looks in the month of June. And we are going to rank and go through some of the best and worst looks of the month. But if you guys haven't been to Royal Fashion News before, hello, my name is Brittany. And this is the channel for all those who have a passion for royal fashion. So if you guys want to hit that subscribe button, I would absolutely love to have you back. And I do apologize. This video has been technically organized for at least a month. And I just haven't gotten to filming it, but I really want to go over the best and worst looks of June and share with you all my thoughts on the royal fashion we have seen. And then we will do one for July. And I have some, I think, expected and probably some controversial comments as well, because Catherine's tripping the color look, I definitely have mixed feelings about. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, for the first best dressed here, we have Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh, and this Spiga blue dress, which is absolutely lovely with her complexion. It is sort of a perfect offset to her fair skin, blue eyes, blonde hair. So I really feel like this choice was very, very excellent for her. If you guys have been watching for a while, you know I have mixed feelings about Sophie's fashion, but I think this particular look is absolutely lovely. So our first entry on the worst dress list here is Queen Maxima of the Netherlands in this very typical Natan ensemble. There are some fantastic Natan pieces. This one is not it. So it's not my favorite at all. It looks like an abstract art piece, you know, one of those Jack Pollock paintings with the paint blotches and stuff. Turban is interesting too, but sometimes I just have to give it a pass because it's very Max, but still on the worst dress list. Still absolutely on the worst dress list. All right, guys, next on the best dress list, we have Catherine, the Princess of Wales, in this self-portrait dress with chambret hat. And we also do have her trusty Gianvito Rossi pumps on. She has worn this dress actually 3 times this year. She purchased it a couple of years ago, so we've seen this a lot, but I still do think it's absolutely lovely. She is really leaning into the pearls this year. And I actually have this dress in a sleeveless version, so I do mean to show it off to you guys. It sort of, let's say, gapes in the front. So we got to work on that a little bit, but I love this look. It's definitely a silhouette Catherine is leaning on, and we'll get more into that on for the July list. But I do think this look is fresh and stunning, and she looks absolutely fabulous. Next on the worst dress list, we do have Queen Letizia of Spain. Now, normally, I love her in a suit. She really rocks suits, but the boxier style I don't think is flattering at all to her. She looks very, very good in a well-fitted suit because she's rather petite, and it really does hug her curves, I think, very well. These sort of boxy men's style suits, I hate. And she does have a favorite pair of shoes on, which have become her Cézanne Mary Jane pumps, which she has worn quite a few times in both black, and she does have now a red pair as well. All right, guys, next we have Queen Matilda of the Belgians in this Natan ensemble, and I love this on her. And also Queen Maxima basically owns the same exact dress and has almost the same exact ensemble. In fact, when I first saw Queen Matilda wear it, I thought for a second from a distance she was Maxima, because I know Maxima owns this too. So I thought Matilda looked great in it as well. I like it on Maxima, so I do have to give it a thumbs up for sure. And I am going to be starting and doing more videos on the Who Wore It Better series, because there's actually a variety of looks that royal women have shared. And I do think it's fun to compare and see and judge who wore it better, because Maxima and Matilda, there was actually an event where they almost wore the exact same thing. It was so incredibly similar. So I think there's so many things we can get from here. We will be doing definitely a look at that, some celebrities as well. So we will definitely be doing a Who Wore It Better here in the future, and it'll become more of a permanent series. Okay, guys, next on the worst dress list, we do have Grand Duchess Maria Theresa in this sort of hideous bright pink ensemble with a top cut out. She always strikes me in her fashion as a woman who does not really truly understand her size and how things look on her, and everything she chooses oftentimes just doesn't look that great. It's not all that flattering, and this definitely falls into that category. I wish she would choose something that was maybe a little bit better, gave her a little bit of a better fit. because this is not working. I don't know what she's trying to go with the cutout. This was, I believe, for Luxembourg National Day. So I do have to give this a big thumbs down. And I'm really hoping, as the newly instituted Grand Duchess Stephanie, who will start her term in October, that her fashion gets a little bit better too, because maybe Maria Theresa isn't holding the purse strings quite as much, or maybe Stephanie can blossom. I really hope Stephanie blossoms, gets away from whatever the heck Maria Theresa is doing. None of her stuff ever looks good, just gotta say. Next, we have Crown Princess Victoria of Sweden in this Hugo Boss jumpsuit, which is a dark blue/navy. And I have to say, I really like this. There's so many of Victoria's pieces that I don't like. So when I see one that's even sort of kind of in the like category, I have to go with it. And I think for Victoria, she tends to choose florals, but really solid colors work best on her. And I think this is an example of that. I really do like it. I think it looks great on her, fitting of the occasion. And I have to give it a thumbs up. All right, guys, next we have Heredity Grand Duchess Stephanie, and she is at Luxembourg National Day. And I think this is another Natan number. She takes, I feel like, cues from her mother-in-law, and I just really, really don't like this. I am hopeful that maybe because she is being elevated to Grand Duchess in the fall, that she may be able to sort of change up her style into something like a little bit more flattering, a little less unflattering. So I'm really hoping that is in the future for her. Wishing her all the best. She seems unbelievably sweet, but I do have to put this on the worst dress list. It's definitely not all that great. All right, next for the best dress list, we have Princess Charlene of Monaco in this ice blue Elie Saab dress. She looks unbelievably smashing. The color is incredible. It looks gorgeous against her skin tone. I feel like she really shines in it. It's got a little bit of an interesting look to it, but I feel like she has very strong shoulders. She was a former Olympic swimmer, and I feel like you see a little bit of that displayed in the breadth of her shoulders there. And I think it's just an unbelievably flattering look. So bravo to Princess Charlene. Definitely a best dressed pick. Okay, guys. So the next up for the worst dressed is Princess Beatrice. There's a part of me that could see where this set is very cute. And unfortunately, she looks pregnant in it. She really looks pregnant. And she may not be. I don't know. She has a pretty young daughter right now. But there's never anything like good about the fashion if that's the first thing that comes to mind. So it's just a little too tight. The styling here is rather unflattering. I feel like I've seen her look in things that are so much better. So this is definitely a worst dress pick. So guys, next on the best dress list, we have Queen Letizia of Spain. And I am in love with this ensemble. And the thing I love about it almost the most, you could say, is that this is quintessential Letizia. This is what she looks best in, what she shines in. And it's a really awesome, awesome look. It's a Maxima duty dress. She has pumps on from the same brand as well, and a Burberry waist belt. And I really want that belt. I would actually love to have a belt like that. But just overall, this is just gorgeous. It is perfect. It is very, very streamlined. Again, very, very Letizia. And the dress does not come with the belt, but the belt really is what makes the dress shine. All right, guys. So next for the worst dress list, I do have to point out two ladies here, and we will get to the best looks in a second. But I have to say it's Princess Ariane and Princess Katharina Amalia. This is at the Dutch summer photo call. I feel like Princess Ariane's suit here, like, it needs a bit more styling. She is really young. She's only 18. So obviously I try to be very cautious with the young ladies. So it's not necessarily bad. I just feel like this could have used a bit more structure to make it really shine. However, I will say, weirdly, this kind of mix of colors honestly sort of worked. And then when it comes to Amalia, I think the blouse is a little bit ridiculous. But guys, I do actually have that blouse to try on. I found it at the Real Real. So we will definitely be pulling that out and seeing what it looks like. So guys, I just don't really like either of those looks. I feel like they work within the group picture, but definitely not the most flattering. So now let's get to the best looks from the Dutch summer photo call. And the first is Princess Alexia in this solid green ensemble from COS. I actually managed to get this dress. I had it on in a video recently. There's an aspect of it that I like, but also an aspect of it that I'm not a super big fan of. But it is definitely a pretty flattering dress. And then I also have to shout out Queen Maxima there in her Zimmerman dress. Even though there was a pattern, you could have had like a clash of patterns. Honestly, guys, it all worked together. So I do have to give the ladies a thumbs up for a very eclectic look overall, but they all looked amazing. So guys, next for the worst dress list, I do have to say it is Princess Alexandra of Hanover in this Giambattista volley gown. While I like that she is not heavily made up, and turns out her makeup is very, very slight, which I think actually is a great combination with the softness of the dress. However, the dress is awful. The dress is awful. I don't think there's any salvaging that. She is very cute and sweet, but I think I have to put the dress on the worst dressed for sure. All right, guys, so next for the best dress, this is actually one I want to do a comparison showing you how Sophie has done this look well. And then the next example is how she's done the look poorly. I actually think this is a really well constructed outfit. I think every element of this goes together because you're working with a little bit more here. You have a skirt, you have a blazer, you have a shirt, you have shoes rather than just like a dress and shoes. So because of that, you have a little bit more texture to this look. I think the pattern on her skirt is absolutely lovely. I think the whole ensemble itself is actually really, really pretty and flattering and goes to show how she can do this look correctly. And I think the big trick here, if I was going to give out my very personal, humble opinion, is that the color scheme of this outfit is not too overwhelming. She has a Gabriella Hearst skirt on here in case you were curious. The jacket is a Prada. She has her sort of favored Jimmy Choo pumps on as well. So remember this outfit as we transition to the next one, which is on the worst dress list. So in this sort of similar ensemble, you can see where Sophie sort of lost her touch because we have a lot of competing elements here and they just don't really go together. Because if you compare it to the other look, which is sort of bright and airy and everything flows really well, I feel like we just have sort of a lot of messiness here. We have a Paige skirt, a Vince blouse, and she has some boots on, and it just feels a lot more frumpy here. The other previous look was very flattering, very elegant, and this just comes across as frumpy. So for me, the way to sort of correct this, I think, is to actually pick more colors that go together. So I think she can keep the blazer and keep the skirt, but change out the shirt instead of pink. Let's change it out for something maybe a little bit more off-white or something to that effect. Something that blends in a bit better. Instead of going with silk, let's go with cotton. And maybe the outfit works better that way. I just feel like the outfit we have now, and different boots. The boots are like burgundy. So we have burgundy, brown, green, and pink. There's just too many colors. I feel like it's clashing. I also feel like this comes across as very frumpy, whereas again, the other look was flattering and elegant. So Sophie needs to learn more on the Gabriella Hearst skirt look and less on the Paige skirt look. And if you're curious about the skirt, because I was thinking, maybe this is on sale because this is sort of the sale time of year. But no, it is not. And it is also $800. It is a suede skirt, not just a regular like corduroy or something kind of like it looks. It's a leather suede skirt, in case you're curious. All right, so next on the worst dress list, I do have to sadly give it to Princess Sophia of Sweden at the christening of her daughter, Princess Ian's. And I just have to say, I just don't like this. I don't like the yellow. I don't think it's a flattering color on her. If you were doing your like seasonal colors, color me mine, those sorts of things, this is not a look for her. It's an awful color of yellow. I think it sort of washes her out. It's just detracts from her beauty rather than adds to it. So, for almost really that reason, I have to put this definitely on the worst dress list. She is wearing a Lars Wallen dress and her Christian Louboutin shoes, which she debuted, I believe it was at King Carl Gustaf's Golden Jubilee there back in 2023. So, she does tend to like this color of yellow sometimes. Not quite sure why, but I do have to say, although the occasion is absolutely wonderful and amazing, the dress is less than ideal. So for my next choice on the worst dress list, we do have Princess Eugenie in this sort of terrible waistcoat and trouser ensemble from Stradivarius. This is just bad. Honestly, it looks cheap, it's unflattering, it's kind of sloppy looking. It's just sort of awful. So I just don't have really anything good to say about it. The pinstripe is a lovely piece, but the rest of it, no. So next for the best dress list, we have Queen Maxima of the Netherlands in this amazing lime green ensemble. I love this. I love the drama of it. It's so max. It really works. It shines. It's amazing. It's incredible. This was at the, I think, NATO summit meeting that was held in the Netherlands. We didn't get like a super great picture of it when they were greeting kind of dignitaries and stuff, but now we have a little bit of a better picture here in the group shots with all the world leaders. And I love the addition of the brooch. This is one of the few times that Nathan really works. I think it's incredible. Absolutely love it. Massive, massive thumbs up. So for our next dress list, we have a twofer here. And I have to say it is Crown Princess Mette Marit in this very frumpy Christian Dior gown. And sadly, her daughter as well, Princess Ingrid Alexander. She has finally gotten out of her mother's closet. But Vivienne Westwood doesn't really work for her. So I have a couple of issues you could say with these looks. I think for Crown Princess Mette Marit in the white, I just feel like this is very frumpy. It's a Dior piece, so that means it's pretty pricey and just like she wears almost the same thing all the time anymore. It's both boring and I feel like this is incredibly unflattering to her. She has some Manolo Blahnik pumps on. And then when it comes to Ingrid Alexandra, I love that she's getting out of her mother's closet because she tends to look frumpy in her mother's looks because she's in her early 20s and her mother's in her 50s. But when it comes to this Vivienne Westwood piece, I feel like it's a lot of drama, which doesn't really work for Ingrid. So when it comes to kind of how we're like either naturally built and stuff like that, there are some people who will look great in sort of like sharp clothes. So very like tight lines and everything, some very dramatic pieces. Ingrid has a softer face and features. I think softer looks will be more flattering on her. That's just my personal opinion. But I feel like this particular look is not flattering on her at all, this Vivienne Westwood piece. I think it's overly dramatic, and I don't think that's particularly a good look for her. I would suggest to her to go softer and choose something different. Like the structure of the dress too, I don't think is flattering. I feel like it adds volume to her instead of taking volume away. Most of the time we want to take away volume. As women, let's be honest. So I have to put both of these ladies on the worst dress list for these particular looks. So for our last best dress look, we have another twofer, and this is at the christening of Princess Ian's, and we have Princess Madeline of Sweden, I think looking really sharp in this purple Sophia suit. It could lean a little bit into the matronly, but at the same time, I think it's very flattering, very beautiful. I feel like the lavender makes her eyes pop, so I do have to give her a bit of a thumbs up here. I thought it was a really great springy look for this particular christening. We also have Crown Princess Victoria. She's in floral again. I don't think floral is complimentary on her, but at the same time, I do like this dress. I think she looks very pretty. And a little shout out, a special note for Princess Estelle, who will one day be crown princess and I think looks absolutely lovely and perfectly age appropriate in this skirt and blouse ensemble. And she's 13 and almost towering over her uncles. So she is going to be quite tall, I believe. All right, guys, so for our worst look for the month of June, I imagine this one will be a bit of a surprise, and it is not Princess Catherine and her Trooping the Color look, but I do mention it right here because I have truly mixed feelings about this. I could put this on the best dress list because I love the pop of color. She doesn't really tend to lean towards turquoise, but I feel like it's very, very flattering to her. And yet at the same time, I also kind of sort of despise its 80 inspired ensemble. For me, I don't like the 80s fashion decade at all. And so I just sort of despise it that way. So I have mixed feelings. So I didn't put it on the list either way. But let's get into what is the true worst look of the month. And this one, I'm giving it more because she can do so much better. And then somehow we got this. And that is Queen Mary of Denmark in this culottes suit, and which is gray, and she has a white and brown belt on and brown shoes. I am flummoxed, ladies and gentlemen. I am well and truly flummoxed. I do not understand this look. Mary is like so on point 99.999% of the time, and yet somehow we get this. I don't my brain's almost having a hard time functioning. I don't know how we got this. This was at the Global Fashion Summit too, and somebody had mentioned they thought Queen Mary was a bit off this year, and I could kind of see that. It just doesn't really look all that good. So the blazer and trousers are from Mark Henley. The belt is Zimmerman. She has Gianvito Rossi pumps on, and it says like these are tan. I don't see the pantsuit being tan. It looks gray to me. I don't see how gray and brown go together, especially in this look. Again, this is almost more because she knows to do better, and yet somehow we got this. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. The culottes are, so I just have to say no. Very sad to say no in this particular instance to this look. All right, ladies and gentlemen, for the best look of the month of June, I'm cheating a little bit because I have to give it to Queen Maxima and her entire wardrobe for her state visit to the Czech Republic. Every single look knocked it out of the park. There was no bad look here. All of them were incredible and amazing. So let's get into the look that she wore for their welcoming ceremony. It's a Jan Tamiano, pronouncing that wrong, dress. And she wore it to the coronation of King Charles, because what I love about this visit is that it was entirely rewears with a little bit of a twist. So she rewore the dress and she rewore the same hat, but I believe it was Philip Tracy. She tipped it a little bit more, so had a little bit more of a severe angle for this trip. Loved it. I thought this look was unbelievably beautiful. I loved it for the coronation, and I really, really am enjoying it here as well. So for the state banquet, she wore another Jan Tiamanu dress. He's one of my favorite designers for her, and in fact has designed my favorite royal look ever for her. And I feel like this is insanely, insanely flattering. It's so incredibly gorgeous. And we have a couple of great pictures of behind the tiara. And I absolutely love that. I think the red is just a great pop for her. And then moving on to the next day, she actually had to do the next day solo because King Wilhelm Alexander had to go back home a bit early because of a bit of a constitutional crisis going on. So she wore a Natan number she wore for King's Day last year. Again, I have to say, I am in love with it. I love the green. I love the new hat slash, fascinator that she's wearing here. I feel like it was absolute perfection. Gorgeous, gorgeous. I also love that we got a shot of her shoes, and you can tell that her Gianvito Rossi pumps have been resold. We can also see her shoe size in case you were curious. She's known in the royal watching world for having a bit of larger feet there, which I have zero issue with. I always find it funny because some women, I guess, really don't like having large feet, and I would kill to have a 42 because guess what, guys? You get all the great shoes for cheap when they go on sale because 42 is a rare size, whereas I have a 7 and everything is in 7. So I love this look. And then for her departure dinner, Maxima looked fine again in some diamond pieces from the house diamond. So these make up the diamonds of the Stuart tiara. And she rewore a Valentino gown. looked absolute perfection in it. She played the part of very gracious guest perfectly. This is what you want in a queen. She looked phenomenal, and every look I loved. And it was fun too because last year I got to go to Prague myself. So it was kind of cool to see her there, see Wilhelm Alexander there when he was there just for the first day and go, yeah, I've been on Charles Bridge too. Although I didn't get a bunch of, like, I'm sure security shooing away the other tourists so I could get a private picture. Although there was a really cute moment where she goes, I'm so alone on the bridge. She was a little bit bummed about that, which I thought was absolutely darling. But she was by far this trip my favorite look of the month. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. What did you think of my best choice as Queen Maxima on her state visit to Prague? I just thought she really knocked it out of the park like the entire time. So it was impossible really to choose anything else. And when it comes to Sophie, like if she could just help herself a little bit, I think she'd look absolutely awesome. But Mary was definitely a huge disappointment in the culottes outfit. I don't know what she was thinking. So, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. And a wrap up of July shall be coming to you very, very soon. Bye.